I'm fucking tearing up. This is like, I'm petrified to be broke again.
You turn over 60 million a year, 0 employees.
Fuck everyone.
Really?
Fuck everyone.
A few months back, you were giving away a house that was worth like $1 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, $1.7 million house. I would say what I want because I'm not relying on an audience or a following to make money or social media to make money.
Like your car collection. Just walk me through your car collection quickly.
Anyone that thinks they're better than somebody because of their wealth is a piece of shit. I'm no better than anyone.
That one change, 5 a.m. changed the whole business.
Changed the whole business. I went back to sleep. I woke up, clocked my biggest day. Ego just doesn't belong in business. You know, you just got to be level-headed, grounded.
When you made your first million, what did you say to your mum? Like, Mum, here, look at this.
So that together we have clarity, direction, and success way beyond what we ever previously thought possible. Here's your host, Frankie Lee.
Quick one before we jump into this podcast. Do me a solid favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment below this video. If you're looking to remove images, videos, search results, or fake accounts online, go to contentremoval.com. But don't take my word for it. Here's some music.
Frank, you're a fucking legend. I just saw this. Layla also thinks you're a legend, which in my mind means you're... which means you're a double legend in my mind. If you get my wife to think you're a legend, then you're extra cool in my mind. Dude, thank you so much, genuinely. That was such a pain.
Welcome back to the Frankie Lee Podcast. And today, guys, I am bringing you a man that I promised you I'd bring to you a long time ago. And it's took me 12 months of painstaking negotiation. We negotiated Dubai, it didn't happen. We negotiated Australia before, it didn't happen. And now I'm sat in the man's house. Adrian Portelli, owner of LMCT, and turns over $60 million a year. The man's a wizard. He's across all industries, investor. Welcome to your house, mate. Welcome to your house.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
It's
finally made it happen, eh?
We've been trying to do this a long time, haven't we?
It has been a while. And you know what? Your persistence has paid off. I gave in. I'm like, I'm not going to do any more podcasts. But I'm just like, you know what?
I think I remember saying to you, I'm like, mate, look, even if you're going to swerve me, it's all good, but don't do any other podcasts before you do mine.
I didn't, did I?
No, you
I
did.
stayed to my word.
You stayed to your word, mate, and mate, what a journey you've had. What a journey to 60 million a year turnover as a group of businesses. For the people, there'll be a few people in the English audience obviously don't know you as well, but obviously the Australian audience will know you very well. In regards to I just want to understand how you even started. What did you come from money, or what was kind of how did it all start from you?
No, we didn't really come from money. My dad had his own truck repair business, so he was business minded in a sense. So we weren't well off, but we weren't poor. We were just in the middle, middle range.
Did he instill some kind of when you were younger? Did he instill some kind of you know what, you're not built for a job kind of stuff. You're built to do business.
No, they're very much like a hard working family. So it's very old school European mentality where it's like work hard, work your absolute ass off, get a house, pay your mortgage off. They're very old school. So I did take some key features of him and applied them to a new modern day generation.
Are you third generation in this country or second generation?
No, first
generation.
Yeah. So they were both born overseas. So
and when did they come in?
They came here. My dad came here young, so I think he was only 5 or whatever. My mum came here when she was 18. They got married, so he flew over there. They met, they married, come down here and started a family. They did it tough. Yeah, they really did it tough. And then my dad started. So he was a mechanic by trade. And started off a truck business, so with a couple of partners, and he did well. But he was a hard-ass working guy. Just worked his absolute balls off, crazy. Up at 4 a.m, didn't come home till 6, 7 every day.
And you think that's where you got your work ethic from your dad?
Definitely would have got the work ethic from there. And they just busted his ass, and it was a solid business towards the end. But I just saw a bigger picture. I looked at him and I'm like, you're making money. This was a 20, 25-year-old business. You're making money, but it's there's easier ways to make money and faster.
What were the easier ways you kind of envisaged from looking at his business from the outside, thinking, you've done well? What kind of things did you see that you thought you could streamline and make so much easier?
Just online business.
Just completely online.
Yeah. Just low overheads, minimal work. Like physical work, forget it. I'm not getting my hands dirty for nothing. And I used to work with him, to be honest. It's like I used to work for him. And he paid me fucking shit money. It was like probably one of the only jobs I had.
I reckon him paying you shit money and giving and you having that job from early doors, I reckon that's probably set you up with a kind of that nous to go out and get more for yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he was a very hard man. Everyone was scared of him at work. I don't know how he got away with it for so long, but he's just on your ass. Like I remember once I was laughing at work and he came and just flipped it and just lost his marbles, fucking laugh here and just booted a hole in the wall. He was a hard ass. I think he's a very hard man.
I think the old school mentality with business was like you can't enjoy work. But I see what you do in life now, and I just think that I see enjoyment right the way through it. I know it's hard work. I know you do a lot of work, even though it's online, you do a lot of work to generate 60 million, let's be honest. You're enjoying every minute of everything you're doing from not every minute, obviously 90% of the time. You seem like you're enjoying it. You're enjoying who you're working with, who you're partnering with. Is that something you must have taken from the early days to kind of think, there wasn't no enjoyment for this for my dad. He was flipping his lid, but then I've got to put that enjoyment into what I do.
And that's the thing. I think deep down, he actually did enjoy it. That's just his approach. That's his approach on business. Just aggressive, assertive. This is how it's going to be done. This is when it needs to be done. Get it done. That's it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I see other people run their businesses and they're like, and I've taken that from him, and that's how I run my business. I'm aggressive, to the point. This is how it needs to be done. If you're not going to do it, fuck off.
And what was the first stream of revenue you built for yourself online?
Online, well, I started a graphic design business. So that was when I was 18. Started graphic design business, used to go to the arts and craft markets, fucking Sunday mornings, 3 a.m, everyone's out partying, and I'm fucking driving with me ute, full of fucking artwork and stuff, going to arts and craft markets. So I picked a few contracts up from there. Obviously, it wasn't anything to brag about. It's just shit money, but the hustle was there. And then, I did that for a couple of years. And then I just wanted to move on to bigger and better things. So,
what made you start in arts and crafts and that kind of graphic design niche? What made you go there first?
Yeah, I think from a young age I was just loved art, loved playing around on the computer when I was younger, Photoshop and that, and it was easier to do. It didn't require any brains really. I'm not the most academically smart person. And that's why I can resonate with so many people, because I consider myself an absolute dumb shit. But with graphics, I can express myself. I don't need to use my brain or such. It's just
because you got an artistic type vision where you can create things. Yep. You say you're a dumb shit, which is kind of but do you agree then? Because I've obviously met a lot of top entrepreneurs myself, and obviously you have too. Do you agree then that there is an art to making money, though, in terms of 100%. Vast amount of capital and putting away?
Well, that's the thing. People think that you've got to be, you got to study, you got to read books, you got to do this, and I fucking hate it I got caught up in that as well. I thought, fuck, I can't read, I can't stay focused. I'm just going to be a failure, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that as well. And it's not the case at all. I literally just brainwashed myself that I was going to make money.
I've had a bit of an epiphany when it comes to books, right? Because I've read a lot of books. And then I realised you're reading a lot of books, but you're not always taking action.
Yeah.
And it's the radical action. You're better off reading. If you're going to read books, you're better off having 2 or 3 staple books that you read, but you study the art of the book and implement what the book fucking tells you.
Yeah.
I think people these days have too many mentors and too much noise, and that spins them around in circles. I remember an Instagram post that you did a while back, and it was about all these fake entrepreneurs on Instagram and how course sellers are selling course sellers courses, and you've been. That's why you don't like doing too many podcasts and this, that, and the other, and doing all this kind of stuff. You're a bit low key like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not. I'll say what I want because I'm not relying on. an audience or a following to make money, or social media to make money. So I can say what I want. But I just see it's just a scam. It's just a gimmick. I'm sure there's a lot of credible people that are doing it and they're making good money. But then you got people that are running courses like they've got nothing achievable in their life either. So they're just taking advantage of just people that are desperate, wanting to learn, and I resent. That's the thing, because everyone told me you got to study, you got to read, and this and that. I'm sure it works for people, but there's other ways to do it as well. And I feel like everyone told me that's the only way. And now that I've figured out, I've made it for myself. Now I resent those sort of people, and I'm just like, mate, just everyone do their own thing. This way, yeah.
But tell me the Adrian Portelli way, the quickest way that right, for my whole audience. I want them really to get this point. In terms of the fastest way for them, not in terms of the fastest, it doesn't have to be the fastest way, but the proven blueprint in your mind to make money consistently. How would you articulate that?
To make money consistently.
To make money consistently and to consistently grow, over time. Obviously you're gonna have down months and all that stuff, but you've got a blueprint that works. Yep. You've scaled a lot over time. We can see that through your whole journey, like with every business you've got. I know that in your mind there's a set of principles that you live by that fucking work, and I'd love to know what they are.
I think the first thing people do is they follow trends. I was one of those people. So I talk so confidently because I was in that position. I was chasing money, totally brainwashed to a lifestyle that I wanted to live. And I was just chasing trends, chasing the next hot thing, the big thing. Uber, for example, back then started that, and then menu or food apps and such. And I just wasn't passionate about it. It didn't feel right. I was just burning a shit ton of money. And then, I'm obviously passionate about cars. So when I started, it just dawned on me one day that when I started working with cars, I'm like, fuck, I've actually just unlocked the code. It's just stick to your passion. As soon as I started working with cars again, I'm like, fuck, spent years chasing trends, and I think that's what people do. They see people make money in one industry and they're like, fuck, to get rich quick. They run to that industry and then, they fail because it's not in them. So I think that's number one key. Find your passion and then start from there.
And but I suppose then, once they've found their passion in what lights them up, they have to find, how do they go and find the key to unlock the element that offers people the fair value exchange. So obviously you can charge dollars for it, so you can obviously make money out of this passion that you've found and discovered within yourself. But it kind of generates for you and obviously delivers a value to the customer at that end. So how did you go about syncing cars and value and putting it all together so that you could package it and make it a saleable asset?
Yeah, well, the first thing first are online businesses. I love my online businesses. Why? Because they're just easy to set up, low overheads, minimal staff. I think the biggest failure is people jump in too deep. They got too many overheads. They can't bring in enough income to service the overheads. So with an online business, you can set up these days. You can set up an online business for a couple of grand if you really want to. Like I just set up my newest business for $2-3 grand. Lux Plus. So
yeah,
similar to LMCT Plus, but just designer goods.
So instead of giving away cars and giving away houses,
goods,
you're giving away designer goods now.
Yep.
So you've identified that in Australia, obviously, designer goods are well loved by the people. Everyone loves a Louis Vuitton bag here. Everyone loves this. So you're servicing a need, but then you're applying the business model that you've already got to the need in the marketplace.
Exactly. So
put it together.
Yeah, in my sense, I've realised that subscription-based businesses are the key for me. It's just consistent cash flow. When I started LMCT, we were running, for example, LMCT, we were running these promotions. So we'd run a promotion, and then after that promotion, boom, the business would store.
Yep.
Go into a complete store. So no cash flow, nothing. It's not really a business. It's more of, it's not a business. So that's when I brought in the subscription-based model, and that allows for just healthy cash flow. So then it's just like, all right, well, we've done this, and all right, let's do something aimed towards the ladies, cheaper. Everyone loves designer goods now with social media. Everyone's living a certain, or they want to be perceived in a certain way. So let's give them a way to do it. It's a no-brainer. So it's like $2.50 a week. Everyone can afford that.
And it's scalable because at the end of the day, your cost of goods are not as much as a car and not as much as a house.
Yeah.
I remember the other month or a few months ago, or maybe a few months back, you were giving away a house that was worth like $1 million, weren't you?
Yeah, $1.7 million house. And that's the thing. It looks easy. We've made it look easy, but it's not easy. We're doing this because we've been doing this for 5 years. We've got the membership base. We've got the lists. We've got the brand. We can push it. We can push something like that. But to an outsider perspective, going back to what we were talking about before, someone that's not passionate about cars or that, and they're just chasing the money, they'll look at my business and be like, fuck,
we can replicate it.
These guys are pushing out one car every week. There must be money in that. We're going to do it. And you're getting a lot of people that are jumping in the deep end. I first said I want to make it look that easy, that I want to lure these people in to burn them. I was just being egotistical. And now that it's actually happening, now I actually feel bad because people are reaching out to us saying they've been ripped off, and such because they don't see the bigger picture behind the scenes, running expenses and such.
Yeah, and I think obviously there's a lot of risk involved in purchasing houses and stuff. And
massive risk.
Like you say, how many giveaways in the initial days did it take before you started to actually really cash flow that? Because obviously you started off with a lumpy cash model. You'd do a giveaway, you'd get loads of cash in the bank, then you'd not lose it all, but you'd all spend it all out. Then you brought in the subscription model. How long into the business journey did you bring in the subscription model?
Well, the business was never made for giveaways. So it was software-based business. I used to buy and flip cars. We had we built the software to find the best deals out there on the market. And then I was sitting on a few GDRs at the time, Nissan GDRs, and I was going to sell them and buy a house. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know why. I was just cleaning one of the cars. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it away to try and get some exposure. It wasn't to make money. I didn't think I was going to make money. I just wanted the exposure. So it was a subscription-based model to begin with when we first launched. That's all it was. And I launched it out there. It was an R32 GDR, and I'm like, I'm going to post this thing. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to wake up, and I'm going to be... Made it. So I posted it. Go to sleep, wake up, had like fucking 3 likes or something. I'm like, shit, what have I done? Like I said, I don't care if that was the gamble I was willing to take. I'm not looking to make money. I just wanted exposure, get some traction, get some movement. And I was running it as a raffle business then, and within 24 hours I had the gaming commission on my ass.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You can't run that. You
need a license.
Completely operating illegally. So I hung up. And I was sitting there, I'm like, fuck, it's either I wrap it up or I just sat there, I'm like, all right, these are customers of mine. They're buying my software. What happens if I gave one of these cars to one of my customers? So I called them back. I'm like, what happens if I gave one of these cars to one of my customers as a promotion? She went silent. And she's like, yeah, that works. So it's like, fuck, okay. So anyway, so we remodeled. We changed a few things. So it was all legal, above board, and we ran it. It still didn't work. It's a subscription model. Nobody likes subscriptions.
Right.
It's harder to get someone to lock into a subscription than to buy a... Yeah.
So you had to build it to start with. To build the audience to start with, you had to do it as non-subscription.
Well,
and then flip it.
The final few days, it was like, shit, I've only done 3,000 worth of sales. I'm not looking to get my money back. Like, the car probably cost me 30,000 back then. I'm not looking to get my money back. Just wanted the exposure, and I felt like I didn't get enough exposure. So then, it sounds like bullshit, but 5:00 in the morning, one night morning, I was sleeping and I just had a dream about entering this car giveaway promotion. And I'm like, go to sign up, entered all my details, and it's like, enter a subscription. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. And I said that in my dream. I literally woke up, grabbed my laptop, and changed the subscriptions to one-off packages.
Yeah.
Went back to sleep, I woke up, and already clocked my biggest day from there.
So that one change
changed the whole business.
5 a.m. changed the whole business.
Changed the whole business. And that just showed me subscriptions are hard work. You definitely need to be... You can't just kick off a business with a subscription model. It will not work. Won't work. I know it won't work. Unless you've got a brand and a customer base and trust.
So how long would you say, in your experience, do you have to... How many years, how many reps do you have to put in to build the brand to be able to sustain and launch a subscription? If I was going to launch one today, is 2.5 years of work on a podcast long enough reps for me to launch a subscription business to deliver value to the marketplace?
I think so, yeah.
Or am I pissing in the wind in terms of trying to launch that myself?
I can speak on the perspective that we had a list and we were pumping. Like, when we first started, no one knew who we are. Everyone laughed at us. We were trying to get people businesses to sign up with us to give our members some sort of discount. And we just got laughed at, mate. And no one knew who we were. But through Facebook, social media, advertising, etc., we were able to build the brand very quickly, build our list very quickly, and then adapt the business model to make sense to, turn into a subscription-based business. So it was 2 years. It was 2 years.
2 years of build-up to be able to get to you could flick the switch on the subscription.
2 years, and I reckon at least $10 million spent in advertising and branding.
When you spend 10 million on ads, what's your return on ad spend on that?
Return on ad spend?
Yeah, like
Facebook is very different, and social media advertising is very different these days. Back then, you could do it. You could pump big numbers. If you were doing like a 4x, 5x, good numbers. 3x.
So 10 million. So you it's mad, isn't it? How you started at zero and you got to the point where you're pumping 10 million ads.
But that was back then. So there was a key window back then where everything was still working. Now with Facebook, lots changed with iOS and that. So tracking conversions are a lot more difficult.
But if you were going to say to me, like, Frankie, there's an opportunity, there's some blue ocean over here that you should look into. Like, I've seen the Portelli way. I've seen it, mate. I've seen there's something over there. Where would you look?
Where would you look?
In terms of, like, where would you look? Where's the blue ocean in terms of, like, where people can, as long as it's a good is it TikTok? Is it where's the blue ocean in terms of the social space these days?
To be honest, we still do, like, I'm still a fan of Facebook, Instagram. I think we're one of the biggest spenders on Facebook and Instagram now. We pump 10 million plus easy a year.
Yeah.
Just on that media. So we pump very big numbers. And for our business, it works. But it depends what business you have. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, our business, I don't think would work. We've tried it on TikTok. But someone else's business, for example, beauty
I think it's
targets,
more,
that will work. It just depends. You got to figure out what your target audience is and what works best for you. For us, Facebook, Instagram, Google, that works for us.
How impactful has it been on your business, the kind of your ability to build relationships within the space and do joint ventures and stuff like that? Because I noticed that throughout your journey, there's been a lot of synergies with a lot of other people that have kind of worked, and it's something I would say that you're probably known for, is putting things together and working with other people without there being ego involved in you need to make more money than them or da da da.
That's the thing, is ego just doesn't belong in business. You know, you just got to be level-headed, grounded. We've reached out to obviously a couple of main guys and got the job done. We're in a position where, you know, we can support these guys financially beyond their means. So I think that's the key. We've got the cash flow and the certainty with the business, and I'll do it specifically for I personally look for people that are in the game. They've got that cult following. You know, Troy, for example,
Yeah.
or Willem Powerfish we just signed up with. They've got that cult following. People like them. You know, it's not paid. It's not. You know, it's organic. It's organic reach.
Yeah.
So that's what I look for.
So when you partner with a Troy Candy or William Powerfish, someone like that, when you partner with these cult brands in their own right, these cult personal brands, how does it break down in terms of like, is it a 50-50 split? How does the joint venture break down in terms of how that works?
So we do like a fee and then obviously like a percentage on the memberships.
On the revenue.
Yeah. So we do a set fee and then whatever they bring in on their memberships, they'll get a cut.
So it builds them a subscription, an ongoing subscription revenue, because I presume when they sign a person up to your subscription, they get a trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
and they get ongoing royalties.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And it's we're established, and it takes doing this. It's a big job. It might not look like a big job, but there is so many moving parts, and you know these guys have families. They got lives to live. You know, so we come in there, we'll do all the hard work, everything's set up, automated. We've spent the big bucks on developing the back end. Come in, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll just, get paid.
So essentially, Troy went from being a competitor in the space, basically, with the giveaways he was doing, to now partnering.
Troy was doing raffles, but it's like, it was raffles. So I'm just like, mate, just come with us, we'll look after you. And yeah, we can do cool things together. So it's brilliant how you've kind of you're living everyone's dream from a lot of respects because of, but it's what I'm understanding as we're going through this is like it's all down to the morals of how you do business, and then the relationships within that and how they're set up from the start. And it's all, and from me looking in, it's all about the win-win. Yep. Because when you do business, it's like they have to win, and if they win, you win as a byproduct. Whereas a lot of businesses these days, in all countries, people are trying to snake people for cash all the time. No. And that's where you don't build the long-term things. Definitely not. And same thing, we brought Troy on. Troy was hesitant to come on. I worked on that for a year and a half.
I was trying to convince him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking at. He's
smiling, Troy.
Yeah, he's looking. He's sat there on the laptop outside working.
But when he came on, he's just like, a year later, and he's like, "Fuck, it's the best thing I did." Biggest regret was not doing it earlier.
Yeah,
bringing on Powerfish. Powerfish was doing giveaways specifically.
Yeah,
it's got his audience, it's got a cult following, doing boats, so not in our realm.
Yeah,
but it's just like, I can guarantee you. I said to Powerfish as well, I can guarantee you I've got 90% of your audience. Guarantee you. My list is that big and diverse. I've got your audience. So coming on, people are saving money because before they were entering my giveaways, they're entering Troy's, they're entering Willem's. Now everyone's together, you pay the one membership and you're going into all of them.
Yeah, and
it's a no-brainer.
Not only that, it's like when you spend $10 million on ads on the front end, the amount of pixel data that you have, irrespective of how many emails you've collected and other data points that you've collected along the way, phone numbers, emails. I mean, I supported your giveaway, right? For that house. I just wanted to support you. I saw Mitchell post it. He'd been on podcast, Troy, but I thought I'll support your giveaway. So I just paid. You guys never stopped fucking texting me. I'm like, fuck. It just made me laugh. When I was in England, I got a text from you guys, and it was all about a giveaway. I thought, fuck, I can't even get a message back from Adrian.
Hey, it's actually me doing those send-outs. It's me doing it. So in a way, I am messaging you guys. I'll message you more than you message me.
Thought, fucking this guy's ignoring me on the on the real number, but he's texting me, or he's trying to sell me a package,
mate. The pleasure with having that capital to spend on ads is we don't need anyone.
Yeah.
There's one thing I hate, right? Obviously, one of them's education. I shouldn't really say that, but to me, it works for people.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. And I feel like people need to know that. Those kids that aren't good at school, don't like to read books, there's still a way. You don't have to do that to be successful.
I'm trying to do education, but I'm trying to do it in a way where I take successful people and allow them to distill their knowledge and put it into the ears in a way that allows people to consume it in the right respect. And there's a lot of podcasts that do the typical hour-long in this country alone. There's a lot of podcasts that do the typical hour-long podcasts. They might be called like the Startup Business Entrepreneur Podcast or some bullshit like that. And they just have a set. They ask you a question, but then they never go into any depth on the answer that you give.
Yep.
Right. And I'm trying to break it down. I'm trying to give them something. So I understand what you're saying about education, because education in the traditional sense, where it's like you ask a question and then tell you an answer. Well, that doesn't give you any there's no context within that. There needs to be context.
Yeah, 100%.
If you put context around it, it just send it to a different stratosphere.
Yeah, so that's one thing totally don't like. Because, if you're hungry, if you've completely devoted your life to it, brainwash yourself. Like, that was all that was on my mind.
How? Okay, break it down then. If you said to me, Frankie, brainwash yourself, how do I, as a listener right now, sat in his car on his way to work to a job that he doesn't like or she doesn't like, how do I brainwash myself to allow myself the even access to the party where you can even start on the journey to the level of success that you've had?
I was just, man, it sounds stupid to the level I was doing it, but for example, if I was out playing with the soccer ball in the backyard, I was juggling. I'd be like, however many juggles I can get, I'll earn. Each one would equal $1,000, and that would be my income for weekly when I'm older. So I'd sit there for hours trying to beat my record. Just to that level, playing games, getting high scores would equal to my income when I get older. Or just to that level, driving I had a little Nissan Micra, driving that to the gym and just picturing me in a Lamborghini Murcielago, driving, like, just completely thinking I was in the car. Like, just every aspect of my life was just brainwashed around becoming successful. And it breaks my heart because, like, I sacrificed a lot of years because I wanted it so bad.
What do you believe was sacrificed in that pursuit?
Just, I refused to work. Because I didn't, like, not that I was lazy. I was working like fucking 16 hours a day just on my own stuff. It wasn't making any money. I was just pumping 16 hours a day. That's why when people say you're lucky, it's like, fuck, that's not luck. Like, trust me. Yeah. I was doing 16 hours a day, 6, 7, 8 years, moved overseas without earning a cent. And I refused to get a job. Like, I'd work for free. I just refused to accept money because it's just like, I will not accept this as a payment because this is not the money I want.
Do you think as soon as you accept money as a payment, you kind of energetically shut down your
path? Your standards, I think you just short yourself out. And it's like, I find when my back's against the wall, I work my hardest. I was constantly broke and just constantly just grinding. And, man, like, fuck. It's looking back, I tear up, mate, because it's like, fuck, I put in those fucking years, man.
So did you miss out on the nights out and the women and all the kind of stuff?
I had that, but to a certain level, like, I had a lot of sacrifices. I didn't have money, I didn't have money, so that's why. I wouldn't change it for the world. It breaks my heart. I honestly go back in photos, and I look back in photos, when I was, early 20s and that, and just, I knew what I was going through back then. I look at my photos, always had a smile on my face, and just, like, just look in my eyes and just, like, don't worry, mate, you're gonna make it, just keep going. And I just look at the photo, now I always do it. I just look at the photo and say, mate, you're nearly there, keep going. Just wish I could talk to myself back then.
Mate, and I have the same epiphany with this podcast and everything I'm building, bro. I believe, even though others can't see what I'm doing and what I'm building, even though some people don't get it, when you inherently know within yourself what you're building and why you're building it, and it's purposeful, you just fucking keep going, man, and keep knocking on that door, because one day that door's going to fucking open. And when one door opens, 8 doors open, and then it starts a perpetual movement and it compounds. Because the one thing I want to understand from you is like, when you start seeing the level of success that you've seen within yourself and the level of money that's cash flowing and rolling into your life, how do you keep the work ethic and keep leveling up the work ethic so that you keep generating them more and more capital so you can invest, so you can move, so you can shake?
I'm petrified to end up in that position that I was in. So, mate, I work fucking... I don't have a life. I don't have a life. Everyone sees me driving cool cars and shit, but it's like, yeah, I'm just driving from one place to another to fucking go work. My life isn't cool. I wake up 6 a.m, check my phone, start hitting emails, and I'm going till 12, 1 a.m, every single day, 7 days a week. That's it. That's my life, and I love it. But I'm petrified of returning back to that life. Fuck, I'm fucking tearing up. This is like, I'm petrified to be broke again. I was broke, and the whole world was against you. The whole world was against you. My parents just didn't understand it. They're just like, what are you doing with your life? Like, go get a job. Look at your, look at your friends. Look at these people. Look at these people.
Comparison,
and just like, what are you doing? Like, you still. And I had successes in my mid-20s. Then when I came back to Australia, it's just like, same thing. I just spent all my money chasing money.
Where did you go to chase it?
I went to the US, moved over to LA for a bit.
And what happened there?
Same thing. I just was infatuated with the US, just the level of wealth there. I felt like, Australia wasn't the place. So I went over there and had a car chauffeur business up there. It was good. It was bringing in money. It was a good learning experience. Did it tough. Was in a big car wreck. Someone ran a red light, T-boned like one of my cars. I had a Mercedes S-Class. Saved all my money, pumped it into that. This guy T-boned the shit out of me, and the other guy didn't have insurance. Or in America, insurance is very different. You got levels of insurance. Yeah. So he had minimal insurance, so he could only got like $5,000 out of it, and he had no assets or no, nothing to his name. So and because I had full insurance, but I had commercial insurance, and I didn't know at the time, but with commercial insurance, you have to have a valid California license for 2 years or more to be fully covered. So I wasn't covered either. So I lost the car. Yeah. And
then from that, you lose the business.
Then I just lost. I'm like, fuck. I've got all these overheads in these. Too many overheads tied up. I'm just gonna sell up.
And was that a moment when you're coming back to Australia? Did you think that your mum and dad would be like, "Oh, I told you so, I told you son," kind of thing? Because I kind of feel like there's a little bit of not, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but that hurt you a little bit when they didn't see what you were seeing.
They were always supportive. Like, don't get me wrong, they were supportive. They just didn't understand it. Didn't understand it. Like, don't get me wrong, if I needed help or I needed someone to talk to, they were always there. But they just didn't. They just didn't believe me. They just couldn't see it because I was doing it for so long. And they're like, all right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years has gone past. You haven't done anything. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And to the point, I posted on my Instagram recently, like, I keep saying, like, Mom's just constantly on my back. And I'm just like, mate, it's going to happen. I'm going to be a millionaire. And she's like, you're a dreamer. Like, you're just a dreamer. And that one hit, like, fuck, that fucking put me in tears, mate, because I'm just like, man, I need, like, all the support I can get right now.
I know it sounds weird, right? If my dad has always been really, really, he's always told me about what I can go and achieve. But my mum's all about, and they're all about safety, and they don't mean it. But I'd like to explain to people, you have to be careful what you tell certain women in your life, what you're trying to achieve, because some operate because of the nature of a female and a male. Like, some operate from a safety mindset, and they don't mean it, but sometimes they say things and it kills it just kills your soul. Like, my mum didn't mean it, and I had to repair my relationship with her later on in life, in terms, like, because I had to understand that her narrative and her beliefs was set upon the fact of how she saw the world and how she was taught from a child. So you just got to accept. Yeah. You got to accept them for how they are, and that's a really hard thing when you're like, Mum, I'm going to be a millionaire. Mum, I'm going to create this wealth. Mum, I'm going to look after you and your family. You've got this massive self-belief in yourself to go and fucking do that. And then she says, oh, you're a dreamer, get a job.
Well, this was at the point where I was already torn down and defeated. But I still had the will just to keep going. And yeah, and when she said that, it's like, you're a dreamer. And then I just like literally wrote it on a piece of paper, stuck it on the wall, and just every day I'm just like, fuck, just keep going. It actually gave me the motivation to keep going. And now, now I've got a big neon sign in my backyard. It just says, you're a dreamer.
Really?
Yeah.
What, and that's at Melbourne?
Yeah, over the pool.
When you made your first million, what did you do to kind of say to your mum, like, Mum, here, look at this? Did you send her anything, or?
When I made, so I made my first million before, like, earlier in the piece. Then obviously, like, blew it, trying to find other things to do. But yeah, now it's just, she just can't comprehend it. In the very beginning, she thought I was doing something illegal. Of course. She's like, what are you doing? What's this? She thought I was like, maybe a drug dealer or something. She's like, and she's just a stress head. She's a stress head.
She's Maltese, man.
Yeah.
Go easy.
I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, she called me, like, as we went, I think it was Father's Day recently. I don't know, but we had
19th of June in Australia.
And we took off, and the Lambo is like pretty loud now. And she called me like 5 days later, and she's crying. She's like, I haven't slept since then. Like, I'm just freaking out. She's a stress head. What? Just because the car was loud and it took off.
What? So when you took off her driveway in the Lambo, she was stressed because the car was loud.
Yeah, and she's like, you're gonna get killed, this and that. It's just, she's a big stress head. And that's it. And it's old European mentality.
It's protection.
Yeah.
But it's unconditional love.
It is.
She has unconditional love.
Definitely.
For you.
And that's the thing. Like, she wasn't, when she said that, she wasn't trying to hurt me or anything. She was just looking for my best interests. And the only way they know how to bring in money is hard work, sacrifices. No. I won't settle for that. No.
I was walking down the by the beach the other day, and I was on the phone to my mum, and I was just about to tell her about some stuff that I'm going to achieve in my life. I was just about to tell her about something I've just done and something I'm about to fucking do, right? In a big way. Anyway, I stopped myself because I thought, so don't tell her that, because she's gonna tell me, be safe, Frankie, slow down, be careful, and that kills my fucking vibe. So I just pivoted the conversation back to her, even though she'd asked me the question. I was just about to deliver all this and tell her all this exciting stuff, and then I just stopped myself because I thought there's no point, because I'll tell you when I'm 3 steps beyond where I am now. I'll tell her the first step, because then you can't kill it because I've already completed. I've already ticked it off, and that's the way I approach things now. It's like, because a lot of the lads in business that I'm around, if I told you before this, like, my vision for the podcast, and even though you didn't shoot me down, you might not agree or whatever, you that's for you, but you didn't shoot me down. You didn't go fucking and try to shoot me out of the air. And it's not because people try and do that, it's because people are subconsciously programmed to do that. So that's why I believe it.
And that's the thing. I was asking questions because I'm like, okay, I'm not in the podcast game. You're passionate about it. Go for it. You can make it happen because you're passionate about it. The fact that you've done this for so long without making $1 is just like, you know what I mean? There you go. That's the first step to knowing you're on the right path.
Guys, quick one for you. If you're getting value from this content and you're loving what's been put down so far, drop a like on this video, drop a comment on it, and share it across social media for me.
Because I believe the biggest crime in podcasting is, I see all these podcasts that are in the Australian market, in the UK market. They've monetized way earlier than I have. But the way that they've done it, I don't agree with. And the way, and I think that I will have so much value in the marketplace that when I monetize for a fair exchange and give people access to the network of people that I've created and the value that I'm going to bring as a proposition to that, that it will be fair. It will be a fucking 100x the value of anyone else brings, because I'm building it for that reason, because I fucking love it, mate.
Exactly.
And you can't, mate. You look at your DMs. I've been fucking. We've been connected for a long time, talking for a long time before that, and then I've been fucking hammering you every fucking.
I appreciate the hustle. That's why I did it.
I just because I knew. I can already get a feeling of how this is going to change a lot of people's perspectives on a lot of stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
And I fucking knew this podcast would bang before, and that's why I was relentless with you.
Yeah.
That's why I've got him on the hook.
I said I wouldn't do a podcast. I'm like, fuck, I'm not doing one. And then the hustle, I'm just like, man, this guy's absolutely grinding. I was like, fucking oath, let's do it.
Only because I see the value that you can bring, but you need, when you go out to play tennis in terms of giving value to the world, right? You can't have someone that's serving you aces. You can't have someone that's just going to serve you questions and not take any depth value. I think you've got to have someone who can play tennis with you, who has a little bit of a rally with you, and that's what I'm trying to do with this, mate.
And that's, I think, the reason why I didn't want to do a podcast is I don't know. I was just I just can't. You can't teach people how to be successful.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not trying to get you to do that.
Yeah, like, it's just, and that's the thing. It's like me saying what I went through, and that I like to. I'm a introvert. I don't like. I'm like a hermit. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I know,
you wouldn't think it, but
I know,
I'm a hermit.
I know.
Speak to all my mates. I don't
Yeah.
I don't like socializing with people. I'm very quiet. I don't like, and I'm just like, this is very like what I went through was like extremely personal and that, and it's just like people like. They always DM me or that, how do I become rich? I want you to be a thing. And it's like, you just got to have it ingrained in you, I feel. Like, that's my perspective. How I became well, it was just ingrained. It was either live or die. Like, I would literally say, if I don't make this amount, by the time...
What was the amount?
It was like, I just wanted to turn over $1 million a year by the time I was 30. I always said, if
you fucking smashed that, didn't you?
I said, if I don't hit $1 million a year by the time I'm 30, I'll nick myself. Like, it's not good to say, but it was to that point where I was just, that's the goals I'd set on myself. Like, just extreme behaviour.
One thing that's come to me as well just now is like, you've burnt all the ships to make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I happily lose money doing the podcast right now because I know where I'm going.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you didn't have a job. I mean, I could be generating money doing content removal and pushing that business this second, right? I could be making some sales to America, you know what I mean? But this is more important to me. Yeah. And I can't explain that. And it's like same way as you couldn't explain why. I know it sounds really profound how you say on a podcast, I had to make $1 million a year by 30 or I'd neck myself. But in essence, you weren't saying it from the point of view that you truly wanted to neck yourself. You just didn't want to give yourself a way out of not hitting that goal that you set for yourself.
Yeah, I said I was just convincing myself like it's gonna happen or you're fucked.
So how important then is it for people to hold themselves to the account of what they dream to achieve and what do you know what I mean? How important is that?
People want it, but do they really want it? Are they willing to sacrifice everything in their life to get it? When your back's against the wall, you're gonna fight. And same today. I put my back against the wall and I fight. I got maybe when you were first reaching out to me, I didn't want to do a podcast because I was just fucking felt guilty. My headspace wasn't there. I was finding it hard to work. Don't get me wrong, I was still working, but not to the level I'm used to. But I just felt guilty. I felt like a piece of shit. It's just hard on myself. Like if I'm not working 16, 17, 18 hours a day, I'm just fucking depressed.
So why is there that feeling within yourself that you're not worthy unless you work 16 hours a day?
That's it. I just
Because you set up that online business, remember, because you knew that was a better way of making money to give yourself freedom.
And still to this day, I'm just not content. It's a curse and a blessing at the same time. I'm just never content with my life. And don't get me wrong, I've been absolutely broke and I've got a lot of money and I'm still not content. I'm still not happy. I've got my cars. I've got the cars I wanted, I dreamed of as a kid. I've got everything. Houses all around Australia, cars. I don't even know how many cars I got. I don't know how much money I got. I don't know how many houses. There's just shit everywhere.
You've got some phenomenal assets.
Right? And I'm not I'm happy, but is anyone really genuinely content and happy? I'll never be content. If you give me $100 million, 200, 300, 400, $1 billion, I'll be like, fuck, this guy's got $1.5 billion. Like, fuck, I've got to work harder.
So what are you doing then in terms of working on that internal happiness to get that metric up? Because that's probably the lowest metric in your life that you have.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to fix it. If I fix it, I'm going to be content. If I'm content, I'm not going to be working. I'll be like, I'll just settle for what I got. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I just want to work till I fucking die. Like, just absolutely grind myself to that absolute fucking floor. Just wreck myself.
You see, what I've realised, Adrian, is I think happiness is a bullshit metric. What I realised the other day, so I realised it yesterday, so I went on a mushroom journey with Lino, right? And this is the third one I've been on. And I took 5 grams of mushrooms and it sent me off like a rocket into the stratosphere. On a journey, like a professional controlled environment. Yeah. Like this is not like me going into the middle of a field and just fucking wasting time. Yeah. I'm like, right, there's some things I need to learn about myself now, because I've been all around the world podcasting now. I'm like, right, come back, have a reset. I went off into the stratosphere. I'm on this fucking journey. And it's like I had to die, and a piece of me had to die in terms of to be like reborn, so to speak. It sounds fucking weird, right? What I learned from that, the epiphany that came through to me was like, people chase happiness. They chase happiness. You should chase what's purposeful to you, because what's purposeful, you'll keep doing the reps with. If it's purposeful and it lights you up, you just keep doing the reps. Something's going to come of that. If something doesn't come directly say something didn't come directly in terms of money directly from the podcast, the money could come from the relationships I build off the back of the podcast with the entrepreneurs I did. The money can come from other ways, but it came from me pursuing something purposeful. So it's like, for me, it's like, if you pursue purpose over happiness, everything else, the fulfillment and that little the piece of happiness that you get come through over time. But you don't just go and obtain happiness. No. It's kind of a metric that's kind of, it's kind of it's just my mind's been refined on how I see that. Yeah. You know, you can't see it in the same way. It's just not a thing. Yeah. But what kind of things are there? Obviously you feel like you've got a lot left to achieve in the game. Obviously you're how old now? 33. So yeah, same age. So what do you want? Like what does the next fucking 12 months, 18 months look like for you?
Now it's just expanding very aggressively.
When you say aggressively, is it just, we're not just talking the Australian market, are we? Are we talking America too, or are we talking UK, or where are you going?
No, I'm focusing on Australia. Like we've put our toes in the water in terms of the overseas market, but I'm focusing on Australia. Like just more diversifying the wealth now to try and make bigger wealth.
How are you doing that?
Just through capital investments, funding.
So where are you looking? So obviously with the world's going into a new frontier in terms of, like, you know, I saw the GFC firsthand in a deep way in England. Like, people were queuing, thousands of people queuing outside Northern Rock because the bank went bankrupt. Like, that's how bad it got in England. It wasn't as, I don't think it was as bad here. I think it got hit, but not as hard because the mining was booming, right? So in terms of like how you're allocating to approach this next 18, 12 months in terms of investment, where are you parking capital?
Honestly, I've just made some really good contacts with capital groups. I've got some friends in there. They're the brains, not me. So I was just lucky to network. That was going to be my second thing that I fucking hate. I hate fucking networking because I grew up as, the shy kid. I can't talk to people. I don't like talking to people. So when everyone's like, you got to network, you got to do this, you need people to get to where you are. I'm like, fuck you, I'll prove to you I don't need shit. So that's why I resent a few things. But in terms, I need to respect that some people do make money that way. Some people do approach business that way. Everyone's got their own way of approaching business. It's not to be frowned upon. I need to learn that as well. It's not to be frowned upon. It's not to be... Some people do it that way. Some people do it my way. But it's pushed on people. And everyone... I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people sitting at home that are like me, that just not good at school, don't like reading, don't like talking to people. Just a recluse. I stay by myself.
But it means by knowing what you don't like, and here's the key thing, by knowing what you don't like in life, you can push yourself towards more of what you do like. So you knew early doors that you didn't like talking to people, you didn't want to be on the phone all the time, you didn't want to be selling, you didn't want lumpy cash business where you sell one thing and you have to go sell it again. Yep. It's like you knew all these things, and then you can build the business model
based on that,
based on the things.
You find your passion and build around your passion,
and you've constructed
That's
that.
What we've done.
It's not by accident.
And then once you build a healthy cash flow's king. Cash flow's king, and not like the cash flow like some fucking dickhead work. They sell that dream, working on an island, fucking selling, drop shipping, blah blah blah. No. Get a healthy cash flow, and then from there, the world's your oyster.
Yeah. What do you consider? I mean, what's in terms of levels? What to you on a personal level? What first level was healthy? Was it 10 grand a month? Was it 20 grand a month? When do you?
Very desensitized to figures these days. So
but early days,
I can't even. Everything moved so quickly that we didn't even have that early days. You know what I mean? Like, you started the business and it was doing this, it was doing that. It was just like fucking running through walls, had investments in property, bringing in incomes there, and businesses and offshore accounts, and the membership businesses then. Healthy cash flow. Fuck, I couldn't even genuinely answer that question. I can't answer that question.
So people like yourself don't set a budget of like, okay, there's 50 grand a month to work within, like in terms of like living expenses, or 100 grand, or how do you kind of set that up? You don't at all?
No, I just make that much money that I don't need to set up anything.
Right. Okay.
No, I wouldn't set goals. Just fucking, hey, sky's the limit. Just make.
When it comes to like buying some, like your car collection, just walk me through your car collection quickly. In terms of like what you've got.
I think we got about $14 or $15 million worth of cars.
$15 million worth of cars, right? Okay. So when you got $15 million worth of cars, let's just take that Ferrari out there, yeah. In your mind, how many of those do you have to be able to buy before you can buy one? Or do you think of it like that? Do you think of how many Ferraris do you have to be able to buy before you can buy one? Do you think of it like that when you do deals, or do you just think, I'll get the Ferrari, then I'll just go and chase more money to go and...
Yeah, like I'll literally send myself broke.
Right.
In the early days, when I got healthy cash in my bank account, I find I lose motivation. So I just go buy shit. Now it's different. Now I can't spend that much. I could if I want to. But I don't, because I'm just like, don't need to.
Is this why you've been buying up property, like a lot of properties lately?
Yeah, sometimes I just get bored and I just, like this house, for example, we weren't really intending to buy it. I walked in, I'm just like, there you go. I'll give you this much money, take it or leave it. And I just bought it. I don't need it. I think I got like fucking 5 houses on the Gold Coast. They're all furnished.
You got 5? I thought you only had 2.
Nah.
You got 5?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. You don't mind, do you?
Yeah, they're all furnished. They're just sitting there.
And you just want the houses just so that you can go and use them at any time, because you don't rent them out, do you?
Nah.
That's
No,
what that
I think there's like all up. I think I got about 10 houses.
you think.
I think so.
What's
but,
it?
But it's
You know, when you buy a car because you love it, or you buy a house because you like it. Do you ever buy them on the investment basis for the capital growth and stuff like that?
Everything I buy is based on it's thinking. There's a game plan behind it. Every one of my cars is an appreciating asset. I won't go buy something that's going to depreciate or that. So everything I am buying, it's either very limited numbers, hard to get. I do like them. I like cars, but they're all the same. They don't make me any happier.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. Someone watching this will be like, fuck, I wish I had a Ferrari. Trust me, when you get it, after a couple of days, you'll be like, it's just a car, whatever. Doesn't make you any happier.
Yeah.
I was still miserable, still dealing with fucking everyday problems, more problems. People trying to burn you. Fuck everyone. That's what I say to everyone. Fuck everyone.
Really?
Fuck everyone.
So how many times? Well, I suppose you can't put a context around how many times, but what have people tried to burn you in legal ways or?
Legal. Oh yeah, and nothing to do with me, but just people were just jealous. Legally, friends burning me.
Friends?
Oh yeah. I've had someone rip me fucking $1.5 million.
How close a friend was he?
Pretty close. Brought him in.
Wow.
Yeah.
$1.5 million. Yeah.
But it's just like I don't. Whatever.
It's a shame though, because
you live and learn, mate. You know what? When you just live and learn. You're in a position where it's like, all right, whatever. You just burn your bridge. I'll pay. Like whatever. And same thing. If I'll pay a bill. Whatever. If I'm not happy with it, I'm just going to pay it, and I'll just wipe my hands clean. You've lost yourself as a friend or a customer. Or
when it's $1.5 million sounds like a lot of money in that lump sum, but really, when it comes down to the context of how much business you two could have done together over the lifetime of being friends,
exactly right.
It doesn't make any sense to. It's 1.5 million is such a small amount of money over 40 years of business.
Exactly, and same very in the early piece as well. I had heaps of people. There were like 3-4 people in LMCT, and they just couldn't deal with the hard yards. They couldn't deal with the work, and they're just like, you know what? They had equity in the business that would be worth millions, and they just like no.
They just didn't want it. They gave the equity up.
They're just like, fuck, see you later. I can't deal with the fucking pressure. You can't deal with the pressure, fuck off. That's it.
Where does most of the pressure come from? Is the pressure from the expectation you set on yourself on a personal level more than the business?
It's when speaking of LMCT Plus, it's very fast paced. Very fast paced. It's not 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. We're moving. Like move. You don't want to move, you can't move. Like we go through a lot of people. People come in, they last a few days and they're out. That's why I keep my ship very minimal.
When you say minimal, how many staff you run at the moment? 0.
I don't have any employees, no.
You turn over 60 million a year with 0 employees. Fucking break that business model down for me.
Yeah, I don't like fat. I don't like overheads.
Don't like fat? You've not even got a bit of drip on you. What are you talking about?
Oh, there's overheads there, but I
60
don't like,
million?
Yeah, I got contractors. There's a lot of people behind the scene.
Yeah.
But employees, they just give me the fucking...
They give you
give me the shit.
So when I see you saying you're looking for a videographer, that's just all contractors? Contractors.
I will not employ anyone.
And what
the fuck would I employ people? People have so many...
But I love this way of thinking because there's not many people in Australia doing 60 mil a year, or in England that matter, doing 60 mil with 0 employees. What do you think you can get to, in your mind? Could you get to $1 billion with 0?
100%.
0.
100%.
How far from now would you be at $1 billion with 0 employees?
With LMCT Plus?
With all your brands?
All the brands. How far? Like as in...
How many years away is it?
How many years? I think no, because investments and that, etc. They're a different ball game. Obviously, you don't need any employees, so that's a it's a different ball game. But sky's the limit. I don't need anyone. These days you don't need anyone. It's just contractors, freelancers. You don't need employees. Employees are bullshit. Why would you get employees for? It's just like you pay them fucking all these rates and fucking nah.
Yeah, because I was wondering how you do things so profitably and how you can move. I was wondering like how you could move so much capital into cars, into assets, and all this stuff, and generate it, and to do that with 0 employees.
Yeah, a lot of it's automated.
That's got to be the title of the podcast.
Yeah, it's, people are just and Troy, you'd be the same. Employees are just crap. I don't like them. I don't like them. Just
so you not even got a PA?
No, I do have a PA.
Just contractor.
Yeah.
I'm still trying.
I see, like, creating a business, low fat. You don't need overheads in a business. Minimal overheads. Do it yourself. We honestly, there's literally like 3 people that run the show.
I love it. I just think I'm honestly dumbfounded by that because
profit margins, man. That's the thing. I work. I don't look at the outside. I just look in the inside and just try to increase my margins as much for all the businesses. It's just increasing margins as quickly as possible.
And how can people go to their business right now in this moment after this podcast? How can they go to their business? What's the quickest way that most businesses can increase their margin? Is it just by literally cutting staff and charging more, or how do you see? I
think you can just delegate and cut. Yeah, you can definitely. As bad as it sounds, I don't know. Well, my business is a lot different. It's online, so yeah, there's different businesses that require, obviously.
I know businesses that turn over $2.5, $3 or $4 million a year that have 30 fucking staff, and when I went to the accountant, I was like, and the accountant broke down, obviously my business and what I'm doing with content removal, and then broke down. He showed me, not the business, but he showed me figures from a business that were kind of doing this X amount of millions, and the profit I'm like, he's like, you don't realise. I'm like, fuck, now I do. Now I understand understand margins better. Online's killer, man.
Online. But like I said, some people make money with brick and mortar. All right, this is the way I choose to make money. Yeah. Very little overheads, low fat, profit.
So you maximise margins on everything you do. You scale the fuck out of it. You're always looking to keep the overheads low, keep the fat low. You scale the fuck out of it, and then you take the capital and you put it into hard assets like property, like and cars.
Yeah.
Do you
jewelry as well?
Do you buy limited edition watches and stuff?
Yeah, I think I spent in the past 12 months at least over $1 million in watches and jewelry. I just love the fact that you can just carry that amount of money on you and not have it in the bank. And not that you're doing anything shady. It's just I just love that you can walk around with a $700,000-$800,000 on your wrist. If you ever get into a sticky situation, you've got something to get you out.
Yeah, and not only that, it's you can walk through borders with no tax implications based on a watch. It's the same with gold and stuff like that. You put money in jewelry and that. And also, when I was speaking to Sam, who's Fortify, he told me that, and I never realised about high fashion, but he buys a lot of high fashion pieces, not only because they hold capital and growing capital wealth, because they might be 5 pieces, similar to what you do, but he says it's like amazing the type of doors and conversations and connections that are opened up from owning assets like that. So I must imagine it's the same for you and with cars and watches yourself.
Oh yeah, you definitely network in the sense where you're buying these kind of cars. You get invited to cool things and meet new people, and opens up new investment opportunities. Definitely, and that's it. Just diversify your wealth. Once you got a steady cash flow, find your passion, create a steady cash flow. Diversify that cash flow. You'll be a billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how you
and move fucking fast. Like,
yeah.
And I do, like, I've got amount of people working on team because I do most of it. I'll be the photographer. I'll be the editor. I'll be the web developer. I'll be the content creator.
I was not expecting to hear this from you at 60 million a year.
I do everything. I sit there editing videos. Them text messages you're receiving, that's me doing them. Every single one. Yeah. I'm doing them text messages. I do the emails. I do the ads. I do all my ads.
You do all your ads?
Yeah. I'm up midnight every night doing ads. Every time you see an LMCT ad, that's from me.
So how do you not think, though, if you had someone do certain parts of it that you'd scale quicker or not?
No, because I tried that to begin with. I went through marketing agencies. The biggest bullshit as ever. I'm sorry, but a lot of people are going to hate me for that. But agencies, it's the most important fucking aspect of your business. You've got to learn your most important aspect of your business. And I've got a friend, his business is shitting himself. He's having a go at his agency. I'm like, why do you have an agency? You need to be in control. Problem with agencies is they're trying to hit targets. You know, they're trying to keep. So the less you spend, the more your return on investment's going to be. But with me, it's just like, mate, I spend 100, 150, 200K a day in ads sometimes. And, you know, if I get a 1.5 return on investment, that's still, you know, big amount.
I was talking to a friend the other day in Dubai, and he was saying to me, look, the easiest business model at the minute to monetize is like, I know it sounds weird, but he's like, mate, I see people that have a $49 ebook, right? And even if they spend fucking $40 to sell the $49 ebook,
$9.
They're making $9, and it's a repeatable fucking model, and they'll scale that fucking thing until they're putting fucking millions into it, and then look what it spits out the back end.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's so simple, and that's why simple works. Like, there's more of it. After this conversation that we've had today and the conversation before the podcast, I'm gonna move a lot different in certain areas of my life, because you've made me understand things at a whole deeper level of control and why that control can leverage you even more money.
Yeah,
and I've had another fucking epiphany right this second, mate. When you said that, I'm like, fucking course you're running your ads, because it's your fucking. That's
the lifeblood.
It drives
business.
Your fucking revenue.
And that's the thing. And because I'm in control of it, if I went with agencies, I don't even know where the fuck I'd be. I'd probably be fucking working at God knows where. You're in control. That is the blood. That is the lifeline of your business. You're in control of how fast and big your business grows. And that's why I do everything. I want to be in control of it.
Yeah.
I've delegated tasks. And I end up redoing them.
But what you do before you delegate is you learn, and you're a practitioner in your business. So yes, there are some tasks that you delegate to outsourcers now. You don't do, but the key metric areas that drive 10 million in revenue, you're keeping hold of those fuckers. Because if I'm spending 200 grand a day, I want to know that, you know, I've written the copy and I've selected the photo, and it's on me then if I lose 200 grand that day.
And that's the best bit. I'm relying on myself. I'm not relying on anybody. I've spent personally probably $25 million plus in ads. I've probably spent just me more than most agencies in Australia over everything, and I've done it myself, and nobody knows that. I don't tell anyone. I do all the ads.
So what do you do when an agency reaches out to you and says, I can give you a 10x ROAS, and we've spent $5 million in the last 20... Yeah.
I know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
There are a lot of bad agencies in Australia.
Yeah, it's
There's a lot of things that get scaled here that perhaps shouldn't be scaled.
Yeah, and that's, number one. You can't be lazy. If you don't know something, learn it. I've learned ads watching YouTube videos and practicing real time. I'm not a marketer.
Well, you are now.
Now I'm self-taught.
But How much more fulfilling is it when you do when you?
Well, when I do bring in marketing guys just to look over everything, and everyone that comes in, they're all, they studied, whatever. They come in, they look at my accounts, and everyone's just scratching their head and they're confused. They're like, this should not work. In reality, on paper, this just isn't a thing because they're taught a certain way to do things. Yeah. I wasn't taught that way. I'm untraditional. I've learnt myself, and now they're just like, holy shit.
Give me some insights, because I want the audience to get some value from this. It's like, how could most people go into their ad account, say on Facebook right now, and what would be the key tweak that you'd make? Are they not running enough creatives, enough photos, enough copy? Are they not? What's the way to tweak it to an easy way to do it? Not an easy way, but just
if they're running their ads now.
Yeah.
If they're currently running their ads.
Yeah.
Creatives is the main thing, obviously. It's a cutthroat market these days, like especially with Facebook and the iOS drama and just not reporting accurately and competitions, a lot of people pushing ads. It's all about creatives now, definitely.
And you find more, some people put up photos and then long direct response copy, but I suppose you're getting more bang out videos.
We went the real spammy approach.
How so?
Just like a real salesy pitch. Like, get in now, hurry, don't miss out, blah, blah, blah. It works for us. I feel it works. But then we do some other content where it's not as spammy, and that works as well. It's just trialing, erroring, test.
How often do you hit? How often are you hitting your text list and your email list each week?
I try not to hit them very often. The email, I don't mind. Email we do every time we do a promotion. We'll shoot out an email. Texts are very personal.
Yeah,
they're invasive. So I'll only hit a text on a big promotion where I know people will find value out of getting that text. A house.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to win a house, but not everyone wants to win a Holden. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love the context of that, yeah. Yeah.
So, and the same thing.
Holden's a Vauxhall for all of you lot in the UK.
It's a niche audience. Yeah.
Yeah, just to break it down.
Yeah. So it's a niche audience. Yeah. So it's niche, so I'm not going to push a text message. People will be pissed off. So I try to save those lists. They're very powerful. Once you build a good list, it's very powerful.
Yeah, I love that. I love your thought process, because everyone's like, hit the list every day. And all the Americans are like, Grant Cardone's saying you can't fucking you punch people in the face, blah 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 blah. But I don't reckon I don't ever reckon he had his business in the early days doing 60 mil with 0 employees.
Yeah. Oh yeah, across yeah.
So I know we were talking at the start, or further down the podcast, we were talking about like how you've created this vision, and it was like obviously very important to you. I know it sounds woo-woo, but do you believe in like those laws of attraction type scenarios?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, when I hear other people talk about it, I'm just like, shut up. But then, realistically, like in hindsight, I was in the exact same position.
You've executed.
I literally brainwashed myself. I had nothing going for me. Just sheer determination. And just grit. I got no fucking skills, no more than anyone else.
So if you had to give, like, if you had to check out and you couldn't take the cars, you couldn't take the house, you couldn't even take Troy over here with you, what golden piece of advice would you live to instill some wisdom in this audience so that they can go and execute on what they need to execute on?
That's it. If you're not willing to sacrifice everything, if you're not willing to just put it first, no matter what, and it's hard for people because some people have different life choices. They might have a family, kids, but in my circumstance, I didn't have any of that. I had friends, family. I just put it all to the side and just my life was just consumed by it.
And you have to, I suppose, in that you have to consider like what is the cost of regret to that versus what's the cost of not doing it for your purpose and for not doing it for...
Yeah, and I failed heaps. But it was funny, yeah, like when they say fail, get back up, it's not so much getting back up, it's fail, look at what you've learnt from that experience, where you failed, start a new business, and apply what you've learnt and apply it to the next business. And then that one will fail. And then it's just a stepping stone until you get to that fucking peak. And it is. You hit your lowest point just before you make it. Just before you make it. I hit my lowest point.
Yeah.
Couldn't even afford fucking bond in a place I wanted to rent.
Yeah.
Had to go sell fucking salvage car parts in my garage to just cover the bond.
Broke. Oh mate, I was sat broke on the beach in December 2015.
Yeah.
Sat broke. I literally had a bag of apples and some peanut butter and fucking choking me up just talking about it. I sat there on a fucking towel watching other families have a Christmas day. It was a Christmas day, bro. I sat there. Buck. Makes me fucking emotional just even talking, mate. And
I bet if you could look back at a photo of you back then,
fuck me, bro.
You'd be like, mate, just keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Yeah, mate. It's been a fucking ride, that's for sure. And but you have to be willing to go through those moments of inherent pain within yourself to kind of push yourself through to that next fucking level. Yep. There always is a next level. Like there's a next level for you. Mate, I'm fucking, mate, what you've achieved.
And that's why, like,
next level shit.
We'll always be humble because we've come from that. No amount of money will change me.
It's immigrant mentality, I think. I think when you're an immigrant of someone else's country, you gotta make it your own and make your mark, and then make it proud for allowing them to cut. Does that make sense? Like you kind of feel like I kind of feel like I owe Australia a lot. That's why I'm trying to send it with this podcast. Yeah. Try and put Australian podcasting on the map for the right reasons. Do you know what I mean? Try to send it. I think there's a lot of that in what you're doing as well. Yeah.
I feel like it's just like, yeah, you know where you've come from, battle to get here. Money doesn't change. Like, yeah, I don't think money changes people. Just reveals their true characters.
Yeah, and their true characters are instilled by their inherent operating system of how of their psychology and everything else, and how they'll treat people and how they'll.
That's what I mean. If anyone that thinks they're better than somebody because of their wealth is a piece of shit. I'm no better than anyone. I can do cool things, but what makes me any different to anyone else? We're all fucking human. Like anyone that thinks they're better, or they lets money change them for the worst is just a fucking piece of shit. Like you shouldn't treat anyone differently just because you're wealthy. I love just being normal. I just go to the shops by myself, walk around, sit down, eat KFC. I just love being by myself and just being normal.
And mate, it's true because most of the people I meet that are inherently really wealthy and have fuck you money, as I term it, most of them are nicer and have more about them, and it's not like the media portrays where, like, you know, the rich people when they're taking off the pulpit. It's like it's not like that at all. It's most of those the reason that they've got the dollar value to their name that they have is because they've served the market, because they've served the world in some respect. 80% of them have. There is 20% that have served the world and took a lot of capital out and are the arseholes, but the 80% of them have served the world at a massive level, delivered massive value, and as a byproduct of delivering value to the marketplace, they've got capital. And they deserve that because they added value to the marketplace. Yep. And if you add value to thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, you too can have 60 million a year in turnover in business with a fucking 80% profit margin. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like you choose your battles, isn't it? But that, my friends, is Adrian Portelli, and thank you so much for having me in your house, man.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for being like a first. Thank you for letting me be the first mate to pop your podcast cherry in.
No worries.
I hope it was worth it to you as it was to me, man. Like I really, guys, do me a solid favor, yeah. If you could like, subscribe, share this on your socials, I'd appreciate it. I've come and interrupted Troy's day as well, and I appreciate Troy out the back here. He's a legend. And guys, yeah, subscribe on all the platforms. Much love, appreciate you. Let's go.
Guys, do me a solid favor. Drop a comment below this video and let us know who you want on the podcast next.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Frankie Lee Podcast.